Hi, I'm Dan, and today we are taking a look at Bambu Lab's latest release, the H2D 3D printer. It's a big, bold, and innovative machine that many of us have been waiting for. This won't be your typical review, there are already plenty of great ones out there. Instead, I'll focus on the real tasks I bought it for and how it compares to my previous X1 carbon 3D printer. I want to cover AMS2 Pro and its performance, ABS shrinkage differences, and heated chamber, and bigger printing volume. I'll also show some of the prints I've made with it and talk a little bit about multicolor printing. If you're considering upgrading or just curious about whether the H2D is worth the price tag, this might help to clarify a few things. Let's start with unboxing. The package is very heavy. I definitely recommend calling a friend to help. I couldn't wait, so of course I just lifted it alone. It's much bigger than X1C or P1S. It feels 2.5 times bigger volumetrically, and the printer itself is 31 kilos. Add AMS and packaging, and this box is probably heavier than 40 kilos. The unpacking experience is very straightforward. Everything is well thought out and clearly designed to survive some abuse during shipping. Most of the packaging is cardboard and reusable. And just like the X1C, the AMS comes shipped inside the printer itself, which I still think is genius. It saves shipping volume, it keeps the AMS better protected, and extraction took about 30 minutes. And that's with me filming and pausing now and then to admire the design. There is no assembly required, it's pretty much ready to rock out of the box. After the setup, the printer runs a self-calibration that makes it think for 30 or 40 minutes. It checks everything: nozzle alignment, bed leveling, vibration calibration, and even resonance compensation. Once that's done, you're ready to print. Overall, I'd say the first hour experience is what you had expect from Bambu Lab. Confident, zero nonsense, and very smooth. When I purchased the H2D, there was no option to buy without the AMS2 Pro. I wasn't sure if I really needed one. But after a bit of research, I saw that it now includes filament drying features. That made me reconsider. The dryer heats up to 65 degrees Celsius, a decent range for PLA or PETG. But when I selected ABS from the drying presets, it immediately warned me that the temperature might not be sufficient for this filament, and recommended to purchase a different dryer from Bambu Lab for this type of filament. Which is not great, to be honest. It would have been ideal to have a single universal solution, especially considering ABS is widely used among more advanced users. But let's return to its actual usage experience. Where I live, in southern China, right near the ocean, humidity is intense. It's around 70–80% in winter and hits 90% plus in summer. That level of humidity easily ruins spools over time, especially nylon, ABS, and TPU. So I loaded a few fresh spools into the AMS, closed the lid, and checked the humidity. It showed 43%. I left it running at 65 degrees for 12 hours. After 12 hours, my 3 spools of ABS and 1 of PETG were down to 15% of humidity. Some might say that's not perfect, but considering it is 85% outside, that's a clear win for me. The AMS also tracks filament usage per slot, which can be useful if you are juggling multiple projects or materials. Saved me a couple of times already. That's a great addition. Now here's the catch. As soon as I opened the lid, humidity jumped back to 25%. So filament swaps should probably be kept to a minimum. That being said, I gave it another 30 minutes of heating and it dropped back down to 15%. So I guess the moisture that you can get into the AMS during filament swap is not critical, as long as you close it back and let it dry a bit. All in all, I consider the AMS2 Pro a useful tool and I have zero regrets paying for it. It dries and stores filament. It's modified to run composite filaments, so they don't sand down AMS internals over time. That's something that used to be a concern with carbon or glass-filled materials. The new design feels sturdier and more future-proof than the first generation. Also, and this is the big one, quality of life upgrade, it's now much easier to extract a snap filament piece from the inside. The PTFE tubes are more exposed and accessible, which is a lifesaver, especially when working with brittle filaments like glass fiber filled ABS. I think it's a good update over the first AMS. It may not be perfect, but it's way more capable than just a feeder box, especially for someone printing with multiple materials regularly. Now, I want to share some thoughts on ABS shrinkage. I printed two large sorting boxes, one on H2D and one on X1C, using the same Bambu Lab ABS filament. To my surprise, neither print warped, they both stuck well to the bed, which is impressive considering the size of the prints and the fact that I used no brim or raft. I realized it might be hard to measure the difference visually, so I bought a tool to measure the distance between the print's corner and the build plate. It's not perfect, and I don't consider it to be precise, but at least it shows a clear, repeatable difference in gaps. The corners on the H2D were around 0.2 to 0.25 millimeters off the surface. On the X1C, they measured closer to 0.4 to 0.5 millimeters. While it might not sound like much, that's nearly double the lift and enough to matter when you're gluing parts or printing tight assemblies. Even though the difference isn't visible at a glance, once you measure it, it's clear that H2D handles ABS better, likely due to higher internal temps and more stable enclosure airflow. For a deeper test, I printed 10 long parallel pipe shaped parts with gyroid fill at 10, 15, 20, 30 and 40 millimeters heights to see how warping increases with size. The test went well on both printers until this happened. I forgot to insert an SD card, classic mistake, so unfortunately we don't have footage of this monstrosity, and trust me, it was worth seeing. After cleanup and a hot end swap, I reprinted the part. This time the difference became more visible and height increased. Here are the results. H2D showed better performance in every single attempt. The results on both printers could be improved further, with better drying, adhesives, or tweaking part cooling. But this wasn't a tuning test, this was about comparing out-of-the-box real-world performance. I used the exact same everyday settings I would use for any utility print. So we are not chasing perfection here, we are comparing how the machines behave under normal use. It's clear that the heated chamber helps reduce warping, though it doesn't eliminate it. Taller parts mean more internal stress, more warping. The chamber doesn't break the laws of physics, but it does tip the odds in your favor for successful, cleaner prints. Now, more about real-world application. This drone body was printed on X1C in 8 sections from ABS, then glued, sanded and painted. It took quite a bit of effort to finish. ABS isn't great for such an assembly due to warping, but PLA and PETG have their own downsides. PETG is harder to paint, its brittle nature prevents it from sticking with acetone paints and epoxies. PLA is too soft and has too low of a temperature rating, especially for use with gel coats, which we heat up slightly to release bubbles. This particular ABS part will become a mold for a new drone project. But the seam lines required heavy post-processing, more sanding, more filler, more time. With the H2D's heated chamber and increased build volume, I can now make parts like this in fewer segments, with better dimensional accuracy, cleaner finishes, and way less effort spent on sanding. That also brings us to the third point. Is bigger volume worth it? Yes, absolutely. If you're making large functional parts, splitting parts is always a compromise. Less slicing equals fewer seams equals better fit and less sanding. It's not just about print size, it's about workflow and efficiency. Now about multicolor printing. To be honest, I don't use it much, mostly just for branded plates, label boxes, or some occasional eye candy on drone accessories. I've never really struggled with excessive poop or filament waste, probably because I don't print decorative objects with complex color changes. But just for this video, I printed these snails and this gamepad stand. I grabbed the models from Maker World and printed them on H2D. Here's a comparison of filament usage and purge waste side by side between H2D with 2 nozzles and X1C with just an AMS. If you print multicolor often, the improvements in efficiency and print time are actually huge. But for my specific use case, it's not essential. That said, I may explore multi-material printing in the near future, like combining TPU hinges with rigid ABS wings for fixed-wing drones, and I'm curious to test nylon carbon parts with soft joints. So stay tuned, I will be sharing more on that in upcoming videos, I guess. Now the big question, is the H2D worth it? Back when I started, I had all sorts of 3D printers. Prusa i3 clones, FL-Sun, Creality, and I spent more time fixing them than actually printing. They were fun, but they weren't tools, and I needed reliable tools. That changed when I bought the X1 Carbon, then later the P1S. They had their quirks, sure, but compared to what I had used before, they were on a completely different level in terms of speed, automation, and stability. Now we have competitors like Cheedy, Creality, Elegoo, and even the new Prusa XL, all with solid feature sets and aggressive pricing. But in my opinion, Bambu Lab still leads in reliability, workflow, and ecosystem. I might try other brands down the road, especially for specialty use, but for daily work and functional prints, I'm sticking with Bambu Lab for now. In terms of price, for me, it was a no-brainer. Living in mainland China means I don't pay for shipping or import taxes, plus the Chinese government offers domestic market subsidies. This one is actually interesting. While many Chinese earn a lot, they only spend about 30% of their monthly income. Compare that to Europe or the US, where it's around 70 to 80%. To encourage local spending, the government subsidizes consumer purchases, and Bambu Lab printers are included. So I asked a friend to help me check, and yes, the H2D was subsidized. In the end, we got it for 12,000 Chinese yuan, which is about $1,600 US. A stunning deal comparing to $2,300 US on US market. To sum up, the H2D is a fantastic tool for my workshop. It has the features I care about. It improves my print quality and it saves me time. I'll be sharing more on how I use it, from mold making to tooling to production parts. I want to thank you all for watching this far. If you consider this video interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe, and see you in the next one.